Hey everybody, welcome back to MacLeod the Zombie FX. Today we're tackling the only kind of angel I would ever be, a fallen one. I wanted this look to remind me of the old porcelain dolls my grandma used to give me to haunt me and my sister at night, so I didn't fight the cracks or flakes that happen naturally with this white paint and made the focal point very Victorian looking. So without further ado, let's get cracking. As always, I begin with Mayron Paradise Aquacolor paint in white to outline all the details and clothing. I'm just using a heart reference picture to draw this, and then adding an oval shape around the heart. I had a Victorian brooch kind of thing in mind. Then finished adding the white to fill in the body. I have to use several layers of this white to get good coverage, especially with my colorful tattoos to cover up. So don't be concerned if you don't get the best color on the first application. Just let it dry and add more layers. I drew all the filigree around the heart in white first so that I had a guide that I wouldn't ruin if I strayed a bit from the lines here and there. Using Mayron paint in black, I begin to outline the filigree. This took me forever and took a lot of swapping between white and black and touching up as I went. But I was pretty satisfied with the final product and it was a good challenge. Using Mayron metallic gold powder along with its mixing liquid, I filled in the heart. It's only fitting an angel have a heart of gold, right? Like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, but without the hooker stuff. And Mayron paint in red for the rest of the negative space. Now we're Amy Winehousing it and going back to black, using this to outline and add in the details of the heart. Using a small amount of black paint, I add more dimension and shadow into the heart. I'm using my reference picture to figure out where certain bumps and indents and highlights should be, so you can do that too. adding white for the highlights. Then I'm finishing up the oval filigree frame and adding black shadows to make the heart area look like it's actually inside of my chest. Also adding shadows to the frame to make it look like it's raised up against the rest of the chest, so just putting more dimension in there and such. Black outlining of the ruffle collars. I again used a reference picture of a shirt to help get the ruffles right. I try to make sure there are at least 3 levels of color on the clothes. I get a gray by heavily blending out black for the medium shadows, black as the deep shadows, and white for highlights. Just pay attention to where your clothing wrinkles and layers are and color accordingly. A small amount of black on a semi-dry flat brush, lightly applied to the sides of the neck, bring out a cool texture on the skin, and it achieves a shadow at the same time. Super fun. Moving on to the face, apply white till you have decent coverage. Layers. Using Pros-Aide, I glue these small horn appliances I got from my local costume shop, then painting them gold to match the heart. And once you're good and horny, you can open up your holes. You know what I mean. Use black paint to paint the holes in the forehead that the horns will be popping up through. Dirty birdie. I'm bringing the black up the horns and blending out a bit to make a shadow. I also added some texture lines to the horns. Don't know if I should have done that, but it happened, and it's okay. Then adding the crack marks. I make them thicker at the base, then thin them out towards the tip to make them look more realistic. Using the black still, I sloppily lined in the eyebrow lines, tidied them up in between with white. Using a dark gray shadow, I begin to sculpt out the cheeks and contours of the face. And I wanted a nice, doll, round face, so I tried to do that, especially with the cheeks. I added some of the shadow to the area around the horns and added some white to the sides of the cracks. The shadow helps the white stand out more against the base white. Adding more horn texture. Using another grayish shadow followed by a dark sparkly shadow, I start adding in my eyeshadow and kept sculpting out my cheek and nose shapes. Using the awesomely pigmented Moondust palette to make the deeper face and eyeshadows. I made the inside eye nose area very dark because it's pretty and dramatic and I can add texture to it. I used the black paint after the dark eyeshadow to create some faux eyelash patterns. Foul. And went in with some white to tidy up the crease a little bit. Applied some lip primer to smooth my lips out a bit and applied black paint for lip color, followed by a touch of the gold metallic powder. And back to white to add a subtle lip highlight and make dots on the inside of the eyes. And just a little gloss on the lips. Using some Lit Cosmetics glitter to add some sparkles to the look, I put on the bottom, lids, and a little on the lips. Also, I put a tiny bit going down like tears and added small streaks of black paint to pull it together. Added some black contacts because I can, duh. And I finished up the eye makeup with some gorgeous shadow lashes. I also added some on the bottom to really amp up the doll feel. And wig on! This poor wig is kind of beat up, but luckily that works for this look in my opinion. I bet you can't fall from heaven without getting a little disheveled. And there she is! I'll leave it up to you to decide what she did to deserve her ousting, but let's just say loitering is apparently a super big deal in heaven. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I hope you'll comment what you think, like the video, subscribe to this channel, and or check out my other videos. There's more fun to come, and I hope you'll join me on my path to improvement. I'll see you later, gals and ghouls. Okay, Marcy, one more down. I think that went well. What do you think? What? Did what hurt? Ah, Marcy. You're sweet, but we've had this talk.